We do a lot of custom SharePoint or just large SharePoint implementations for primarily federal government contracts. We've got a few private sector. We originally had our SharePoint, which was sort of portals and collaboration, but they started branching off into mobile development, cybersecurity, infrastructure modernization, a lot of open source development. So we have several practice areas. Now we're getting into hybrid cloud. How do we support all these different groups that require different environments to do the development work for their projects? Some groups need on-prem virtual machines for their development environments. Some groups need cloud for their development environments. We started running into issues of, well, how do you manage it? It's getting really big. You can't just sit there every day babysitting vSphere and saying, well, does it have the resources it needs? Are we provisioning cloud resources properly? And we got a directive, don't buy the new hardware, put some of this stuff in AWS. And our AWS bill the very first month was like $7,000 or $8,000. I had a suspicion, but I was shocked that it was quite that much, because we didn't have that much up there. We had a handful of Windows VMs, some of them had SQL licensing, none of them were reserved instances, and they were running all the time. It was at least twice as much as what I thought it was going to be. Before, when we've been tasked to lower our AWS spend, we are sort of at the mercy of the AWS cost advisor. You're either stuck in a situation where you have to log into each one and spend hours doing discovery on some of these instances. It's hard to get a good idea by just using the console of, okay, are these idle? Do they need to be scaled down? Do they need to be scaled up? Should they be terminated because they've been idle for a long time? Are they on the correct storage? That kind of thing. And that's when Turbonomic came into it. With the newest features in Turbonomic and being able to add those cloud targets, whether they be EC2, RDS, what have you. Once we have them all added to Turbonomic, it gives you a full picture across the entire state of accounts that you have. And you very quickly see that resources are way over provisioned. Whether it's on-prem or AWS, the right sizing actions and the automated migration actions that it can perform are huge. You'll see VMs that are acting as web servers and they're like, M4, 2XL instances, or the storage. Sometimes you end up having non-infrastructure people deploy these and they put it on some crazy SSD IOPS provision storage. And right away, I just had my socks blown off because Turbonomic is recommending, why don't you bring this down to like an M4 medium? Okay, well, you've got this instance here and it's on storage that's too expensive. I recommend that you move it to this storage. And it did the whole thing for you in just a few seconds. Or sometimes in other situations, they need to provision more resources and the environment's not performing as well as it could be. They may not necessarily know that. Whereas before, if I was going through the cost advisor, it would say, okay, well, you got to do this, but then you got to go back into the EC2 interface, shut it down, change the storage, all kinds of stuff. That saved us probably $3,000 a month on that one account. And I used to spend a lot of time after hours or on weekends trying to do VM management, VM right sizing, that kind of thing. And whether we're just letting it run automated actions or doing some things manually, I know that if there's any kind of congestion issues, it's just going to take care of it for me. We have definitely been on a journey to hybrid cloud, and we could not have done it without Turbonomic.